Story 1. Why do I always pick the slowest checkout line? Every single time. The person in front of me always has a price check, expired coupons, or wants to pay in pennies. Story 2. Okay, so before the Earth was inhabitable, it was a fiery mess, right? And before that, the universe and our solar system were just matter flying away from a huge explosion. Okay, I can grasp that so far. And the elements that created that explosion were obviously pretty hostile to each other, I guess. Maybe there was some gravity and pressure involved. I'm not exactly sure. But what created those elements? What created gravity? I can grasp time as being something where a thing happens, then something happens after that, and so on. And I can grasp the universe as this box that everything sits and exists in. But I can't grasp how something was created from seemingly nothing. And if there's some scientific concept that can eventually explain how the infinite gray void gave birth to this whole existence, cool. I can at least grasp that it's a topic. But then what created that gray void? I can't think about it for more than half a second before my brain locks up and has to reboot. Story 3. Why shrinkflation exists. Candy bars used to be huge. Now it's like, here are 3M and MS for $5.99. Meanwhile, the packaging still looks the same size until you open it and feel betrayed. Story 4. The on-ramp is to allow you to accelerate to match the speed of traffic, so you can merge safely. It is not there for you to sit in it going 45 miles per hour, then jump into 70 miles per hour traffic. Story 5. Why people fight in YouTube comments like it's a courtroom. A video about how to make toast will have people arguing about politics, World War II, and personal trauma. How did we get here? Story 6. Using a politician or political party as your self-identity. I just don't get the devotion. It's weird and pathetic. You are not who you vote for. Be excited to vote and argue your viewpoints with passion, but don't make it the defining part of your personality. Story 7. The astounding number of people who think it's acceptable to sit in a public place with their device playing at full volume, or any volume for that matter. Don't these things come with headphones? Story 8. Anyone asking, am I the asshole? Am I the offender? And then the text screenshots are just incomprehensibly illiterate nonsense. Maybe the reason you two are fighting is that neither of you can write very well, and you need a Rosetta Stone to decipher all the ambiguity and malapropisms. Story 9. Why anyone cares if someone is gay, what race they are, if they are in our country legally or not, if someone has an abortion. I literally do not get why other people care what other people do if it doesn't directly impact them. Story 10. Vertical video takers. Someone takes video of an event that you could see properly in all of its glory if it was in 16:9 instead of frantically waved left to right in 9:16. It's an unimaginable level of stupidity. Story 11. The modern world and its awful human behaviors that drive it forward. I'm genuinely astounded by how the world I knew growing up has long been forgotten and replaced with self-centered, selfish, and angry people that want to show off the good life when they haven't got 2 pennies to rub together to people they don't know or care about. Where did this entitled attitude come from that many people seem to have all of a sudden? The lockdown brought the absolute worst out of the best people I knew, and they haven't turned back. I've estranged myself from decent human beings that have been replaced by fools. The propaganda and social media algorithms, not forgetting the fake news garbage, and don't get me started on politics of any sort or individuals involved. It's gone beyond insanity into the realm of I just want to be left alone with my own interests that don't revolve around clicking yes to a cookie every time. Moving on. Story 12. What baffles me? A lot of things, but the fact that people in today's society can't get along. At all. The fact that when one individual says one thing and another doesn't agree with it, they bicker and argue and start blaming each other like little school children. The fact that all sides of society have to be right when in reality it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Everyone everywhere is going through some type of issues that affect all of us, and all sides of society are too blind to see what's going on. The ones controlling all of us, government bodies, actually want us to actively fight each other. They want us to be divided. Division is what this world has come to. Nobody can chase happiness as long as there is division between us. I don't care that a black man cut me off in traffic. It is what it is. He's still a human being. I don't care if you are a man attempting to be a woman. Cool. I wish you happiness and wealth. They are human too. Have a different religious belief than I do? Nice. I hope you find what you're looking for. You're my best friend, but we disagree about topics? Cool. You're still my best friend. At the end of the day, we are all human beings bleeding the same color of blood. That's what baffles me. Story 13. The amount of business done on the food delivery applications. It's so much extra money at a time when it's already expensive enough to feed yourself. It's fees on fees on fees, higher cost from the restaurant, delivery fees, tips. Plus it's slow and your food is liable to be cold. Corollary to that, how is there an insomnia cookies in every college town? College students are known for being poor. Who has money for that? Story 14. Reddit. Honestly, you say one thing that comes across as wrong or offensive to the topic, and you get massively downvoted and become a pariah to that subreddit. Story 15. The Brazilian butt lift has a shockingly high complication rate. It has to be maintained. Aftercare is ridiculous. It makes someone look like Lego up top and Duplo down below. Even worse, you can exercise it away. Story 16. How am I supposed to believe my country is full of peace-loving good people? Yet the ones who claim they are the nicest seem to be the ones foaming at the mouth to do the most evil? Story 17. I can't understand that people do not care about politics when at least 20% of everything you earn gets taken away by the government. Do you not care about how that money gets spent? Do you not realize that if we banded together, we could put in people that cared and spend it wisely and didn't sell us down the river to billionaires? Story 18. Why don't we all let off the brakes when a light turns from red to green? If the entire line starts slowly moving forward at the same time and accelerating, more of us could get through the light each cycle. Story 19. It blows my mind how plants can communicate. For example, acacia trees send pheromones on the wind to warn other trees that they are being grazed on. And the trees downwind will start producing toxins so they do not taste very good. Another example. A corn plant can emit pheromones that alert wasps in the area to the fact that there are worms eating the corn. The wasps then come and eat the worms. This is not the most scientific explanation, of course, but you get the idea. Story 20. It's the culture around sports for me, at least in America and particularly with football. I used to think the intensity behind fans was performative, and for some it probably is, but it seems some really are that into it, to the exclusion of things that impact daily life so much more. But when you get right down to it, it's just incomprehensible to me what's so fun about watching it. Story 21. How doctors' offices and hospitals are allowed to bill you for service months after you received it. Imagine if any other industry were allowed to do that. Sir, I know we fixed your car 7 months ago and you paid $700 at the time, but we had to bring in a specialist mechanic and he decided you owe him $400. Story 22. When big corporations like fast food restaurants ask you to round up for charity, you're a billion-dollar entity. I'm not giving to charity on your behalf so you can have a tax write-off. If they really cared, they'd just do it. Story 23. I've always been baffled by where likes and preferences come from. Like, what determines our likes and tastes and preferences? How much of it is genetics versus nature? Why are my tastes and likes so different from those of my siblings if we all grew up watching the same things, eating the same things, and had the same parents? Like, you hear about twins separated at birth that go on to have very similar likes and tastes, so it has to be genetic to a degree, but where in the genes and why? Story 24. How Narnia fell to some Spanish sailors when Narnia has dragons, talking animals, wizards, werewolves, witches and hags, minotaurs, walking and talking stars, Ents, Aslan, and a plethora of mythical beings makes no sense to me. Story 25. Some sport takes. Baseball. In a game where numbers are so important, why are all baseball fields different sizes? In one ballpark, it might be a home run, but in another ballpark, it will be a routine flyout. Or the height of the walls is all different. That ballpark in Boston, Green Monster or whatever, what's that about? Soccer/football. The time-wasting aspect of it is just silly. Why not be like all major sports and just pause the game on the dead balls? Instead, you have a continuous clock, which always leads to antics and controversy. There's nothing more embarrassing than when you see these grown men, especially goalkeepers, doing whatever they can to stall the game and waste time. Don't get me started about trying to guess the extra minutes added and the pointless substitutions to waste more time, and then the athletes walking slowly off the field. Just pause on dead balls and problem solved. In some sports, the crowds are expected to be loud and crazy, but in golf or tennis, it's frowned upon if you even make a noise at the wrong time. I'm all for the crowds being able to be loud. You're getting paid millions of dollars to swing at a stationary ball and can't handle a little distraction? Boo-hoo. Story 26. Why does my alarm feel 10 times louder in the morning? When I set it, it's a normal beep. When it actually goes off, it sounds like a sonic boom, a heart attack, life over. Story 27. Why do people think tanking the economy will benefit anyone? It's not even about the common man. Many massive companies will collapse if there is no money to spend. No one will buy a video game, see a movie, buy a personal computer, buy a car, get married, or go on vacation. Everything will collapse. So surely, the billionaires realize they need to stop the madness of the current administration. Story 28. How crazy left-leaning this entire website is. Comments prove it. Posts nowadays seem like either bots or people really watching what they say. Censoring words like bomb. It's cringe. Hell, I'll be lucky if this comment even gets posted. Story 29. How half the country can vote for a literal fascist and then be completely okay with the blatant dissolution of our government and justifying blatant Nazi salutes on nationwide public television. Story 30. People who don't bother to understand their insurance, whether it's health, car, dental, or whatever. Most people have no clue how it works. How we allow the elderly to be scammed so badly. Story 31. Conspiracy theories and the people who fall for them. I also don't get the appeal of boats. Like, what is the deal with wanting to be on a boat out on the water without a way to escape? Story 32. How do my dogs know that a doorbell indicates someone at the door if they've never lived in a home with a functioning doorbell? How do they know to bark and run to the door as though there is a visitor if they hear a doorbell on television? Story 33. The price of hobby kits. You're selling me a box of plastic. It should be way cheaper but still dependent on size. I don't care if it's Gundam, wargaming, or model building. Story 34. I am 50 years old and feel like I have no clue how this world works. You feel like grown-ups have it all figured out, but no, not really. Was it different for our parents, grandparents, and others, or did they feel the same way? Story 35. How can people agree with a politician 99% of the time? Do you actually agree with them? Or are you convincing yourself of something you don't believe in because it's what your dear leader says you should think? Story 36. Baffles. Just kidding, but actually printers. I don't understand how they can perfectly sling ink onto a page, thousands of sheets in a row. It's actually a phenomenon to me. Story 37. The fact that everyone moves based on emotion instead of logic. People will not even accept facts anymore if they do not fit their way of thinking. Also, the double standard or contradictions of today's society. If one person does something, it's not acceptable, but if another person does the same thing, somehow it's not a problem. And when trying to explain this to people, they try to give you every reason as to why it's a different situation because, like above, the facts don't fit their beliefs. Maybe not in society itself, but definitely across social media. Story 38. Why do men say they're visual creatures, but can't see the ketchup stain they left on the counter? Cannot see that the sink needs to be wiped down when you're done shaving? Goats being a symbol for the devil, what? Those goofy-looking guys? If anything, it should be modeled more after a Damascus goat. Story 39. Adults who say they love animals and still eat them. I know this will be criticized, but it's really baffling to me how an adult human brain can do those mental gymnastics to say they love animals and not only pay to have them killed but then eat their corpse. Story 40. People who sit in their car for an hour or more waiting to go through the drive-thru at places like Krispy Kreme or In-N-Out. I literally cannot imagine how that can feel worth it. At least standing in line at a sneaker store or wherever, there is maybe a feeling of camaraderie. In the car, you are just in the car, inching forward every few moments, just waiting. Story 41. Why does society tell us that we need to steer clear of abusive people when they are not related to us, but we are expected to endure abusive and toxic family members? Story 42. Recently, going to an art gallery to see world-famous paintings, people of all ages are holding up their phones to take photos of the paintings. This blocks everyone's view of the art just to get a snap on their phone. For what? There's a whole gift shop full of prints to buy, plus a billion perfect images online you can download for free. But no, you need your own special phone snapshot. Story 43. Watching black pelicans fly. They fly so close to the water. I've seen them fly through the barrels of waves. And when they fly in groups, they will follow each other in a line. Story 44. How computers work. The fact we can have bits of metal that just know ones and zeros and manipulate that into not just showing an alphabet but completing tasks quicker than any creature could consciously. I've tried learning it, and if I get a long sequence of events explained to me, I can follow it, but it's just mind-blowing that collectively we've just engineered rocks to do this.